Reviews. My name is Danielle Jacobo.
I'm Willis Maritz.
And today we are not doing a review per se, but we are going to be discussing the nominees for Best Picture for the Academy Awards. So just to give everyone a brief synopsis and to kind of get you familiar with each film, if you haven't heard of them or haven't seen them or don't know much about them, we're just going to go over them and give you a little bit of background information. So the first one on the list is my personal favorite, La La Land. I think this is one of them that most people have seen. It's definitely one of the more popular ones, but basically this is just about an actress played by Emma Stone and a jazz musician played by Ryan Gosling trying to make it in LA and falling in love, and it's just about life and trying to make it in LA.
But next on the list is Arrival. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve. It tells the story of a alien species that comes to Earth through several ships, and it stars Amy Adams as she tries to figure out what the language is that they're teaching.
So the next one on the list is Lion. I think this is one of the less popular ones in terms of like people that have seen it.
Yeah.
It's about a boy who's separated from his parents at 5 years old just by an accident. I think they're like out. I haven't seen it. Did you see it? Okay. All right, there's a couple we haven't seen. But it basically just follows the life of him. He gets adopted later on, and then when he grows up, he tries to reconnect with the family that he lost originally.
Next on the list is Hell or High Water, directed by David Mackenzie. It tells the story of two brothers who began robbing banks as they are possibly losing their family ranch. And so it has like the backdrop of the economy, and it contains some elements of Western films that has that like excitement to it, with Jeff Bridges being the sheriff of the town as he's trying to catch them.
So the next one on the list is Hidden Figures. This is another one that gained a lot of attention and was very popular, and I think a lot of people actually went out of their way to see. It's about 3 African American women who are scientists for NASA and who played a really big part in launching John Glenn, who was an astronaut, I believe, during the 60s.
Yes. The next on the list is my personal favorite, and who I think really should win, is Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins. It's the tale of a man as he passes through 3 stages in his life, as a child, as a teenager, and as an adult. Learning to try to identify as himself within his own love for another man, as well as the socioeconomics of the urban infrastructure in Miami at that time.
I mean, that one is really good. It's my number 2.
It's number 1 by far.
Okay. So the next one is Hacksaw Ridge. This was actually directed by Mel Gibson. He's made his return. Right?
For good or bad.
Back to Hollywood. It stars Andrew Garfield, and he plays a soldier during World War II who, because of his faith, believes that killing is wrong regardless of the situation, whether it's war or you're in combat. It's like about a test of faith and staying true to what you believe in, and I love Andrew Garfield.
Oh yeah, he's
as an actor.
Next on the list is Manchester by the Sea, written and directed by Kenneth Lonergan. It tells the story of a man who, after losing his brother, faces the dilemma of staying in the town to raise his nephew in a town in which he has experienced some personal trauma. So it's a difficult decision as he tries to cope with everything that's gone on in his past.
Yeah, and it's Casey Affleck, and he does
amazing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful film. I absolutely recommend it. I think it's my 2nd favorite of the year.
Really? La La Land isn't even your top 2?
It's not even in my top 3.
Oh my gosh.
Moonlight, Manchester by the Sea, Arrival.
Oh, hey, we have the same number 3.
Yeah. And the last on the list is Fences, directed and starring Denzel Washington, as he plays a father who wanted to pursue a career in Major League Baseball but wasn't able to because of the time. And so his son now is dealing with the same situation. And so Denzel's character is sort of faced with the dilemma of letting his son pursue that or pursuing something so that he doesn't end up where Denzel is in his life.
So we're basically going to break this down into 3 categories. First, we're going to talk about who we think should win personally, our personal favorites. Then we'll talk about who we think is going to win, and then we will talk about movies that we thought were snubbed and didn't make it in but should have. So I'll start first. My number 1, what I hope wins, what I think should win, is La La Land. And I know it's very polarizing. Some people think it's overrated.
I think it's a very good film. I don't think it's great. I think it's very good. And I think it's very self-aware of the appeal that it has. And it sort of uses that in a way that I don't think is necessarily revolutionary or...
I think it is revolutionary, though. That's the thing. Like, I think it revamped and put a new spin on a genre that was dying in film, anyways. I mean, like, musicals are popular on Broadway still. Of course, people still go to the theater to see them, but as films, there really hasn't been anything like that or this popular.
I think there's a reason that musicals have died, and I think it's a very understandable reason. It's something that's very linked to the time. But is now that's something that is so incredibly overdone that I don't think that there's a revolutionary way to bring it back.
But there is, because this one, it wasn't so much like singers acting, it was more actors singing, so it kind of put like a real life feel on it, and I think that's what makes this so different.
I agree with that.
Is that so it's different than musicals, so I think it revamped it and really gave this genre what it needed. And I enjoyed it all the way through. I think it was, I don't want to say perfect, because nothing's perfect, but I might say it's perfect. In every way. Like, it was beautiful.
I think cinematically, it's good. I think there's some good cinematic value to it. Just the acting was good.
Yeah.
The writing was pretty good. Damien Chazelle's an incredible writer and director. Whiplash was amazing, but I think La La Land just falls a little bit short for me.
I think that it was universally relatable, whereas some films are very specific and focused on one topic that not everybody can relate to. So it's like, people ask, why is La La Land so popular? And it's because it has a message that everyone can relate to. And also, I think it's very popular because in this time, like especially among all of the other nominations, it's not very intense. You know, like Moonlight, and Fences, Hell or High Water, Manchester by the Sea, like they're all very deep and intense, emotional films. But this one is kind of just like lighthearted and fun, and you can go to the theater and just enjoy it and kind of escape.
Exactly. It has that rewatchability value to it that I think the other films don't necessarily have.
Right.
Especially Manchester by the Sea. I think you see that one once, and that's enough for you.
That's good. And not that it's not good, it's just that it's a lot.
It's a film that's as depressing as it is good.
Exactly. It's a whole lot. It's a lot to handle. But second on my list would be Moonlight. I loved Moonlight, and it's almost strange, like seeing these films in these categories and comparing them.
Exactly.
Because they're so different.
And that's something that maybe the Golden Globes is able to do better, because it has a separation between comedy and musical and drama.
Yeah. I mean, Moonlight's my number 2, Arrival's number 3. We both agree on that.
Arrival is very good.
But what I think it's going to come down to is La La Land and Moonlight.
For me, Moonlight just has the upper hand on all of these films by far. I think Barry Jenkins is by far the most cinematic and best at creating this narrative experience that really draws from so many other films. I think Barry Jenkins just has that knowledge of cinema. I know, for example, Moonlight specifically draws off of the works of Wong Kar-wai, In the Mood for Love and Chungking Express, and that just creates this cinematic experience that you're able to relate to, even though it's not necessarily an experience that even I can relate to, because I'm a straight male that hasn't dealt with these.
Well, it connects you to the characters.
Exactly.
And you feel for them.
It gives you that narrative experience. But also, the thing for Moonlight for me is just attacking this huge concept of something that is viewed as negative, especially within like its setting. But Barry Jenkins doesn't attack it in a sense of like, this is what the film is about. He makes it a love story that features these things. For instance, the issue of masculinity especially is something that I think is not even prevalent within queer cinema as a whole, but just the way that he's able to show the main characters as these masculine figures who just so happen to be in love with each other.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and I think it's not something that we think a lot about in this age of like feminism, which I'm a feminist, but sometimes we forget that men have their own issues that they're dealing with, and you forget about like issues that they have growing up and that they deal with their sexuality too. And I did notice like the theme of masculinity in this. It's like, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to grow up? And like, does your sexuality define you? And it was really good to see those themes, and it's not something that you usually see nominated.
Exactly, that's something that I think most people will be able to find refreshing with this list of nominees, is it's a very diverse and representative list.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it was like for the first time in history there was an actor of color in each acting category, at least one. That's and then I think 4 of the 9 all focus on like diversity and racism and having
breaking those barriers.
Yeah, thank you. So no, I love Moonlight. I get why it's your number 1.
Moonlight is by far number 1, followed by Manchester by the Sea. Manchester by the Sea is a very depressing film, I will warn you that. But it creates this feeling that like you're able to associate with Casey Affleck's character. You're able to understand his decisions, though it may not be the right one. You're able to understand why it's such a difficult thing for him. Number 3 we share is Arrival.
Okay, we're good.
Something that we're able to completely agree on here.
And can I just say, how did Amy Adams not get nominated for Best Actress?
She was in this and Nocturnal Animals, which I didn't like Nocturnal Animals, but I think her role in it was phenomenal. And to not get nominated for both of those, let alone like either.
No,
it's just.
I can understand Nocturnal Animals, but this is like out of this world, like literally.
Arrival is amazing. I think it is by far.
Metaphorically.
I just get what you said.
It really is like, I don't get it, and she's what made the movie.
I personally think that this is Amy Adams' best role. I think that she just did something, and we were talking about Arrival the other day. It's just this experience to watch it.
It really is.
It's something that makes you feel something unlike
connected and human.
Yeah, it's this whole concept of what it is to be a human, and for all of us to be a human.
To communicate and what it means to share this experience.
And on top of all of that, the cinematic value of it is outstanding.
Yes.
Denis Villeneuve, I mean, he's made some amazing films, Enemy, Prisoners. But
and you can definitely tell that it's him who's directing it. Like his style, even though like it's his first sci-fi, his directing style is still very evident, and it's like it's very like a slow build.
It's a very suspenseful film that doesn't rely on the suspense coming from the narrative. It's a cinematic suspense.
Yes, you can feel
really
it
just makes the film.
Yeah, there's no dialogue happening, but when you're watching it and you hear the score, and you kind of just like get this feeling in you that like something's gonna happen, but it's not from like cheap lines of like actors like putting out clues and like it's feeding it to you. You just get it.
It's this message that's not too complex, but complex enough for everybody to leave there with something.
It's just
the score was amazing.
All of it was amazing. I love Arrival.
Severely underrated, I feel.
Yes, and I don't know. I don't know why. I don't get it.
I'm not sure either. I hope that in a few years we'll be able to recognize it for what it is and give it the attention that it deserves.
No, I agree, and I think. Like I was saying, I think La La Land like revamped musicals. I think Arrival like revamped sci-fi.
Exactly.
Like sci-fi can be so cheap and so corny and overdone, and you see the same stories over and over again. And this was just I wasn't expecting going into it. I didn't really know what to expect, but when I left, I was like, wow, this is different. Like,
Yeah,
this is...
I think it touches on like amazing sci-fi films such as Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, or Tarkovsky's Solaris, and even within modern things like Ex Machina, sort of handles sci-fi in a way that's a humanistic element.
Yeah, it was very refreshing.
Absolutely.
It was awesome. So now that we know what our personal preferences is, we can kind of move on to what we think logically is going to win based off of the Oscars, how they work, their history. Who do you think is going to win? I like La La Land the most and I want it to win, but I think Moonlight will win.
I would love that.
I think
but unfortunately, we're on other sides here, and I think that La La Land's actually going to take it.
We've switched.
I hope that with all of the awards that La La Land has won, there's sort of this feeling that we don't need to keep rewarding it for...
But if it deserves it, it deserves it. You can't knock it.
I don't think it deserves it either, but I think it will win.
I think Moonlight's going to take it, and I would be fine with it either way. I know you wouldn't be fine either way. But
if La La Land wins, I understand it. La La Land's a good film.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's between those two. I would be really surprised if
I think there's a very small outside chance of... I'm not even sure what would be the third. I think Hidden Figures might be within that third spot.
I think if anything, it's them. But definitely those three: La La Land, Moonlight, and Hidden Figures. I think it has to be.
I think Moonlight actually has the highest like critical review and like on things such as like Metacritic.
Yeah. I think it does. It's definitely rated higher than La La Land.
Yeah, I think it's at like a 97.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think it's gonna take it. I think you're gonna be very happy.
I hope so.
With the outcome of it. But no, I hope La La Land wins. I think it deserves it. By far my favorite, but I think Moonlight's gonna come out on top, and you think the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that you're right on this one.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I would just be super surprised if it were like Lion or like Hell or High Water or something like.
I think if any of them even has an outside chance apart from Hidden Figures, I think it actually would be a rival.
Yeah.
I think it does have a lot of critical acclaim to it, but again, a very, very outside chance.
Yeah, I think it's mostly between La La Land and Moonlight. But yeah, those are our predictions for what we think is going to happen and what we want to happen. But we'd also like to talk about movies that we think should have made it into the category and got the nomination, but did not. So Willis, I know you have one film particularly in mind that you're very close to and really wanted to get a nomination, and it didn't.
The Lobster.
Let's talk about The Lobster.
The Lobster is a genius piece of work by the Greek director, Yorgos Lanthimos. It is nominated for Best Original Screenplay, and I think that is the most universally accepted best aspect of the film, but it does have a lot of cinematic value to it as well. Yorgos Lanthimos is somebody who's not unknown to the Oscars. He was nominated for Best Foreign Film in 2011 for Dogtooth. This film, a couple films before The Lobster, and they both kind of deal with this satirical view on societal norms. The Lobster being within the need to be in a relationship and what it means to be single. Because I think a lot of people view it with a negative stigma as if it's not by their choice, when a lot of people are in fact single by choice.
So my favorite thing about this movie, I think, is the narrative and how unique it is and how random it is.
Absolutely.
Like, I remember when I was like scrolling through Rotten Tomatoes one day and I saw it on the list and I read the synopsis, I was like, what?
It's such a crazy idea.
Yeah. No, it really is. It's super random, but it's good that it turned out to be a really amazing movie. And it's like Colin Farrell, he's amazing.
Colin Farrell's just an amazing actor.
Yeah, he really
is. I think he's going to get a lot more work following The Lobster. He's somebody who's been in, plenty of films, but doesn't have that kind of regular work. Yeah, I haven't seen him in anything in a while. But no, I think that's a good choice.
If I had one, it's super random, and I'm probably gonna lose all credibility after this, but I would have liked to see Deadpool.
Deadpool, I think,
I would
does
like
a
to
lot
see
for
him
comedy.
I really, really think so. I think it does a lot for comedy, and I think it does a lot for the superhero.
Exactly. I
genre.
don't even like superhero films. Like, I'm very much against them. But I paid to go see Deadpool, and I left really happy.
I mean, I was super excited for it when it came out, and I had faith in it that Ryan Reynolds was dedicated to this film. I mean, he's been working on it for like 10 years. It's unique, so different than, again, not even just superhero films, but just a comedy in general. And it was so enjoyable and so well made that I'm really surprised that it didn't get a single nomination.
Yeah, I mean, Suicide Squad even picked up one.
I know! No, Suicide Squad got a nomination and Deadpool didn't get a single one. So I think it would have been great. And you know what? They have 10 spots and they stopped at 9.
There could have been another film in there.
You couldn't have given it to The Lobster.
The Lobster or
Deadpool.
Deadpool or Martin Scorsese's Silence.
Yeah.
Which I'm very surprised didn't pick up a nomination considering the amount of attention it got.
Yeah. No, and again, that one's I mean, the cast even. Like
Exactly.
Adam Driver, Andrew Garfield, Liam Neeson. I mean, and I think it's like one of his last works too. Maybe not the last, but this is him wrapping up.
I think we're approaching the end of
Yeah.
Scorsese's career.
Did it get nominated for anything?
It got a few nominations. I think it got Best Screenplay.
Okay.
And a Best Cinematography. Could be one or two that I'm forgetting or made a mistake on.
Well, I mean, I think this is one of those movies that people are kind of wary of because I think people are hesitant to go see religious movies.
Exactly.
Because they don't want something like shoved in their face, but it's not like that. It's about...
I think it approaches it very well. It's not centered on religion. It just uses it as a thematic element. Yeah,
exactly. It's more of like a test of faith.
Exactly.
And being dedicated to what you believe and in going through these moments in time where you question yourself and your morals. And so, I mean, yeah, it's that I'm surprised that one didn't make it either. But
absolutely.
You know, we'll pay tribute to them. Rest in peace. Those are our predictions. I think La La Land's going to come out on top. Or I want La La Land to come out on top, but I think Moonlight's going to take it.
Hopefully.
You think Moonlight should win.
Other way around.
And La La Land will take it. But we'll see. The Oscars premiere on Sunday, February 26th. I'm very excited for them. And I'm very excited for the host. I love Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm just really surprised about that. I feel like Jimmy Fallon has like a bigger following.
But he did Golden Globes.
Yeah, I just think it's really funny that we have the two late night Jimmy hosts.
The two Jimmys.
I thought it would have been the other way around, but
Jimmy Kimmel's my favorite late night host, so I'm super excited to see him.
I'm excited to see him as well.
And you know what?
I think he'll do a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And out of all of the nominees, all 9, they're really good movies.
Yes.
I'm really happy with what they have.
From what I've seen, I definitely recommend this as definitely one of the best list of nominees.
It's one of the best and one of the most diverse. Well, thank you so much for watching. These are our predictions. Please comment down below if you have any questions or want to let us know your predictions, and we'll reply and see if we feel the same way. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and subscribe to us on YouTube. But for now, that is it. Tune into the Oscars to see how accurate we are. We'll see what happens.
Hopefully you're accurate.
Okay. I know, right? I know that's what you're hoping for. It's okay. Hopefully you're accurate. All right. Well, my name's Danielle Jacobo.
And I'm Willis.
Thank you so much. This has been Kooks and Reviews. Bye.